Beating Bullying is a special series here on the Noon News, encouraging people to take the pledge to end bullying. And joining me now, RCMP Constable Tad Milmine, who's sharing his story to schools across the area in the hopes of ending bullying. Thanks very much for joining us, Tad. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me on.
So let's start off when you were growing up.
Yes.
What experiences did you have in terms of bullying?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, when I see these other stories of the youth and what they're going through, mine was actually quite small. It's as I talk to the youth, I share a story of being followed home by a couple of boys and the mean words that they had said, and back in the day I was very introverted, very shy, so it played a very negative role on my life, and to the point that to this day I still remember everything about those events, and that's what I share, is that it lasts forever.
Right. And in terms of your own experience when you were growing up, you weren't bullied about your sexuality necessarily, but it was something that you were dealing with internally at the time as you were growing up.
Absolutely. It was something that I always knew that I was gay. It was a matter of back in the day, Ross, we didn't have internet or books in the library or GSA groups in high school, so I mean I was left to fend for myself, to try to understand who I was and what it was that about me that was unique and different. So I was 25 when I actually came out and was able to tell the world, who I really was.
And you've dealt with it, obviously.
Oh, yes.
And now you're part of the RCMP and so on, and that's great. Yeah. But there was a moment where a 15-year-old in Ottawa, Jamie Hubley, killed himself because of having to deal with bullying due to his sexuality, and that really awoke something in you.
It did. It was around October 17th of 2011 that I read the story about Jamie Hubley taking his own life, and it was at that moment that I realized, when I was 5 years old, I always wanted to be a police officer. I always wanted to be in a position to help people. But when I saw that story, I was lying in bed, and I remember just the feeling of realizing I have to do something. I have to get out there. And being in this, this great organization of the RCMP and being able to have a voice and being able to make a difference was when I realized it was time that I had to get out there. I didn't know what I was going to do, Russ. I had no idea what it would be. Right. But I have no issues talking about myself or my experiences, and I can share.
We're seeing some images here of Jamie, and so you said that you were inspired by his story, and you've certainly done something about it. You were speaking. You're actually originally from Cambridge.
Yes,
but,
I am.
You're working for a detachment out west in Surrey.
I work in
but
Surrey.
You've decided to speak to schools about bullying and so on, and you've been doing that this week in Waterloo Region, right?
I have. I started by doing it as I continue to do it solely on my own time and at my own expense. I started out with doing BC in the local area around Surrey for my days off. But what happened was I was invited to come back to this area for Wilfrid Laurier University. They wanted to have me, and there was another group down in Woodstock that asked me to come and speak. And I thought, maybe I can put it all together and maybe go back to my old high school of Glenview Park and, kind of reminisce that way and share my story. And I've been here since September 28th, and I'm speaking to classes starting at 8:20 in the morning every single day right through today. I'm taking a break to come and see you, and I'm back to a school after this, and every day.
And what's the reaction been from kids and from the school?
I can't tell you. It's absolutely incredible. I would say that since I've been back in 3 weeks, when I appeal to all, no matter what role they're playing in the bullying, hemisphere that we're in, is I've received probably about 250 emails back from the youth directly, anything from their deepest, darkest secrets to just thanking me for coming or being a role model or asking me policing questions, just anything. So I make it very clear to them that from this moment on, I'm there for them, I will do anything I can to help them. And the teachers are mystified by what's coming back because even they're not aware of it, because so many people are suffering in silence and they don't have that person or that direct contact. It's easy to say go to a link or go to a resource or go read a book, but it's different to be able to sit down with someone and say, here's where I'm at in life. And it's not just a gay thing, it's a bullying thing in general. And I know what it's like to feel all those emotions, and I hope I never forget, so I can connect with them.
Well, good of you to stand up and to be able to speak to students about this very important issue that continues to affect youth. And if as a parent or youth want more information on the pledge, which is something that we're talking about here, making people take the pledge, and the work that Tad has done to end bullying, you can find a link on our website. Just go to kitchener.ctv.ca. Well, thanks again for joining us, Tad.
Thanks very much for having me.
Okay.